So why do we plan? Let's talk about that. Hello, Thunderhawk Coaching here. I'm going to talk about why we plan today. So the initial reason we plan is because of two things. It's two-pronged. First of all, we require collaboration to complete tasks, right? So we need to do things together as a whole system and a whole service, right? So we developed this idea of time. If you guys have ever heard of it, you probably see it at the bottom of the bar here. Time. So we can work collaboratively, right? But it's a bit more than that. It's also we time to manage things, manage the future, right? Planning is to manage the future outcomes, right? If we are more prepared, if we are more ready, then we can prevent future challenges coming up. And that's true within certain limits. There are certain things you can predict. If you see a car walking on the road, if you see a car driving down the road and you walk into the street, you can probably predict pretty accurately if it's going to hit you or not, assuming you have the capability to do that. Most normal people can get a gauge for it. You probably see people walking the street all the time, kind of just bobbing and weaving around the cars. I do anyway. But why do we plan, and why am I making a video about this? I think it's something we don't think about a lot. It's kind of a given as to why we plan or why we don't plan. But I really want to talk about what effective planning looks like a bit here. So when I think about effective planning, I think about not just the concrete stuff, but also like what's happening internally, emotionally when you try and make a plan, because that's going to really determine a big part of like how engaged you are with the plan and significantly impact the success rate of said plan, right? So if, for example, I plan to lose weight, if I hate exercise and going to the gym and eating food that's good for me, that plan shall be most likely foiled. So a big part of making effective plans is to be honest with where you're at and what the challenges are that you face, and the things that are going to get in the way of you doing the thing you want to do. And it's not just practical and concrete, though that is an important aspect to consider when planning and trying to make effective plans and thinking about why we plan. But also we need to look at the internal stuff, the whys, the wheres, the hows, and the relationships that could impact or are involved in planning. So, for example, to make this a bit more concrete again, you're going to the gym with your buddy, okay? Or you want to go to the gym with your buddy. You might want to go and he might just want to do arm stuff all day long, and you are actually like, I like cardio, or you want to try cardio. Those relationships are going to form what you do in the gym, right? So if your gym bro is laser focused on just doing, arm stuff all day, you're going to be pulled into doing that, right? And a lot of people struggle to challenge relationships or try and negotiate in relationships because it feels bad or wrong. Some people struggle with this. And I bring this up because I think this is all part of planning and why we plan, right? Because some of us have like maladaptive coping mechanisms that make us kind of fall in certain relationships. If that's you, shout out to you. But it's hard to bring your own needs to the relationship, right? And that should go into the plan, right? When you think about a plan or planning something, a goal you want to do, and even why you should plan, you need to consider the relationships and how they're going to be impacted, because this is the biggest thing I see people fail when they try and make a plan and make a change. They go, I'm going to go in and I'm going to lose loads of weight and I'm going to get really jacked and get really strong and I'm going to go to the gym 50 times a day and I'm going to be huge. No. You have some kind of relationship to somebody, and you have defined patterns that need to be sat with and thought through a little bit. And with plans as well, why we plan it's because we don't like where we're at, right? So we want change. We really want change to happen now, yesterday ideally. But change is a slow process. Change is not exciting most of the time. If you actually want to make like a lifestyle change to work towards something that's better for you, like you want to start a business, you want to start a family, you want to buy a home, you want to build up savings, you want to go to the gym, you want to make the best video game there's ever been or ever will be, all of this requires time and a lot of boring stuff, right? A lot of boring stuff. And I think this is important to acknowledge when you're setting out any larger goal, that it will be fraught with boredom. There will be lots of things you don't like about it, which is why you need to understand a little deeper what you value and what you're willing to sacrifice to continually work towards that goal, right? For some people, they lock in from an obsession point of view. For most people, that ain't what happens, right? So you've got to really go, hey, so I want to be physically fit, for example. What am I willing to sacrifice? Right now, I want to sit on my phone. Am I willing to sacrifice that to go to the gym? No. Well then, why should I? I don't care about the gym that much. Cool. There you go. Start there. Because there's no point in making a plan to make a big change if you are going to be full of dread and resentment in every significant big change you try and make in one go. So be patient with yourself, right? Because these big plans are trying to address real needs that you feel are important. Otherwise, you wouldn't make the plan, right? But you don't need big change. You need little change. And you need a little change for a bit, and then a little more little change, and then a little more little change, and then maybe just the same for a long time, and then maybe a little more change, and then maybe the same for a long time too. But really, something that really hits for me is when you're planning and you're planning a change in your life of any kind, you need to think about who you want to be in like your day-to-day and everything you do. Like, what kind of person do you want to be? How do you want to, if you want to be physically fit, like how does a physically fit person live? Like, what do they do every day? Do you want to do that, or do you want to build up to being able to do that? That's a really important question to ask yourself, right? When you're thinking about planning and why you would plan and why we plan at all, right? So keep that in mind when you're thinking about planning. You've been wonderful. I've been Will. I'm going to leave it there. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video. That's what we plan. Goodbye.